Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
On Monday, Himanta Biswa Sarma took oath as the 15th Chief Minister of Assam, and during the past week, we also saw Mamata Banerjee being sworn in as the Bengal Chief Minister, DMK Chief MK Stalin being sworn in as the Tamil Nadu CM, and Rangasamy being sworn in as the Puducherry CM. Now, this was after the results of 5 assembly elections were declared last week, and the new LDF government under Pinarayi Vijayan in Kerala is also set to assume office on 20th May. So in today's KYC episode, I'll take you through the process of appointment of the Chief Minister and his cabinet post an election in a state. Now, Article 164 of the Constitution, as you can see on your screens, says that it is the governor who appoints the Chief Minister. So that's the first step, but let's understand how the governor decides who to appoint as the Chief Minister. Now, under normal circumstances, the governor does not face any problem in deciding who is the person to be appointed as the CM, as it is the leader of the majority party in the Legislative Assembly. For instance, this was the case for Assam, as a Bharatiya Janata Party BJP-led National Democratic Alliance secured a comfortable majority in the recently held assembly elections. It basically won 75 seats of the total 126 constituencies. But when does an issue arise? So basically the issue arises where there is a fractured mandate. There are no specific rules or guidelines to be followed in case of a hung assembly, but there are 2 reports on this issue which actually explain what the governor can do in such a situation. Now, the first is the Justice Sarkaria Commission report on center-state relations, and the second is the Justice M.L. Punchi Commission report on constitutional governance and management of center-state relations. I'll be linking the 2 full reports in the description. Now, basically what comes out of these 2 reports is the priority list that you can see on your screens that the governor needs to follow. So basically, as you can see, the party or combination of parties which commands the widest support in the Legislative Assembly should be called upon to form the government. That's the first option, like I mentioned earlier. And if this isn't available, then there is a pre-poll alliance or a coalition that should be treated as one political party, and if such coalition obtains a majority, the leader of such a coalition shall be called by the governor to form the government and to be appointed as the CM. Now let's come to a third situation in which no party or pre-poll coalition has a clear majority. In that case, the governor should select the CM in a 4-pointer order of preference, like you can see on your screens. First, the group with the largest pre-poll alliance commanding the largest number. Secondly, the single largest party with support of others. Thirdly, the post-electoral coalition with all parties joining the government. And fourth, post-electoral alliance with some parties joining the government and the remaining, including independents, supporting from outside. But as you may have noticed, there are ambiguities surrounding these guidelines. For example, the very first option says that the first option for the governor is to call a party or combination of parties which commands the widest support in the Legislative Assembly. But the combination of parties, this phrase referred to in guideline first, does not specify whether it is a post-poll alliance or a pre-poll alliance. So it can be assumed that either of such alliances are covered by the said guideline, meaning that if a post-poll alliance commands the widest support in the Legislative Assembly, then it shall be called upon by the governor to form the government. But the third option lays down the order of preference for the governor to invite for government formation, and as per that, post-poll alliance falls after pre-poll alliance and single largest party. So there have been varying precedents around this. For example, Goa, Manipur and Meghalaya in 2017 and 18 saw BJP post-poll coalitions being invited to form the government even though the Congress had a majority. Now, the Punchi Commission did suggest that necessary constitutional amendments should be made and specific guidelines should be laid down on the approach or the procedure to be followed by the governor, but this hasn't been done so far. But how does the governor actually decide who has the majority? Interestingly, decades ago, there were instances of party leaders parading legislators supporting them in the Raj Bhavan, and governors actually doing a head count or verifying signatures. But this approach was deprecated by the courts, and now the Sarkaria Commission had recommended that a person who has been appointed Chief Minister without a clear majority should seek a vote of confidence in the Assembly within 30 days. So it's been decided, as said by the Sarkaria Commission and even by the Supreme Court in various cases, that the floor of the House is the only place where the majority is to be decided. Now, once the Chief Minister is appointed, the next step is the appointment of the State Council of Ministers, which includes the Cabinet. The Governor appoints other Council of Ministers on the advice of the Chief Minister, and in addition, as per Article 164, for 4 states, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha, the Governor also appoints a Tribal Affairs Minister. As to how many people can be appointed to the Council of Ministers, Subclause 1A of Article 164 says that the total number of ministers in the Council of Ministers, including the Chief Minister, should not be more than 15% of the total MLAs. That's the upper limit. And it also lays down a lower limit, saying that there should be at least 12 ministers in the Council of Ministers, including the Chief Minister. So, for example, in case of Assam, a 13-member cabinet also took oath along with Himanta Biswa Sarma. Now, anybody can be made a part of the Council of Ministers even if they lost the assembly elections. But as per subclause 4 of Article 164 of the Constitution, they have to become a member of the state legislature, that is the Legislative Assembly or the Legislative Council if the state has one, within 6 months. So they can either win a bypoll, that is, as we know, an election held in a single political constituency due to a vacancy, or they can get elected to the Vidhan Parishad or the Legislative Council. Now, Vidhan Parishad seats are filled through indirect polling by Vidhan Sabha or Legislative Assembly members. And if such a minister cannot get elected within 6 months, they need to resign. This is Apoorva Mandhani for ThePrint. For more such videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.